Hi, I'm Tom Migot from Tom Migot Photography. This is a new episode of Review It with Tom Migot, and we are week 3. You've sent me 14 exposures to review, and I thank you so much for it. I also want to thank you all for the kind comments you guys posted on YouTube and on Facebook, and more precisely on Pictography Corner. You remember Pictography Corner is the photography group out there on Facebook where you guys can submit your exposures and discuss it and get right away some honest, genuine comments, as much as I try to do myself in this review and as well on the Facebook group. So let's start, shall we? So 14 exposures. Let's start, and this is. Well, this is our friend. This is. Anybody recognize the signature? This is Mario. Yes, this is Mario. Mario Rossi. This time I didn't say Marco. I hope you appreciate it, buddy. So, what did he send us today? Cute kid. I think might be a girl because of the earring. But what's written on the cupcake? Cutie. So yeah, I would expect to be a girl. Cute. I love it. What I love the most is the look. Look where she is looking. She's looking down, and surprisingly, very wise choice for the watermark, Mario. I think it's brilliant. She's like almost looking at it. I like this. What else could I say about this? It's great. It's not super sharp. I think it could have been sharper. How was it shot? Well, I do not have the details. So yeah, Mario, for the next time, if you could give me the detail, please give me the EXIF data. So yes, it could have. Yeah, maybe a bit sharper would have been nicer. But I like it. I totally love it. The only thing that I would say though is, why so much space above her head? It does help by having that much space. It helps making her smaller. So that might be the reason why you kept it so much. But I did try something though. Hope you don't mind. I was messing around trying to find a crop, and you say, let's imagine that you had kept the frame, and all I did was just cropping a little bit more from the top and a little bit more from the side, and you know, this way we're a bit closer to her head. We can see a bit more detail, because keep in mind folks, this screen is a 27-inch iMac, so it's very big. It's a big picture, so when you actually have it at full size without my crop, well, you know, the face is obviously much smaller. So I don't know what you think, but I like the shot. I like the light. I like everything. It's a bit blown out on the t-shirt right underneath her chin, but I'm okay with that. I like it. It's a nice monochrome. I like the vignetting you did, and I like the frame. I think it's a very cutesy one. And yeah, no, nice job on this, Mario. Really nice job. So next we're going to PM Photography. PM Photography went mental this week with his dog called Biscuit, I think, if I remember correctly. Well, okay, so that is cute, right? You might not be a dog person. I'm not a dog person per se, but I like it. It's a nice exposure. It's well balanced, and it's a good white. Balance as well. Nice light. Yeah, I don't have anything to say about it. I mean, it's really great, because you see, I always make a point of trying to get not only a correct exposure, but more importantly, trying to have a correct and creative exposure. That's what it's all about. If it's not creative, then, you know, forget it. What's the point of having it correct? And here, I think it's correct and creative, because he shot with a kit lens. This is an 1855, so you can see that still with a kit lens you can still get a fantastic result. The aperture we see, it's 5.6. And so one could argue, well, then why at 5.6 we have such a shallow depth of field? So depth of field, you remember, is the zone in focus. And why is it shallow? Because we can see the front of of the nose. Actually, it's blurred, and behind the eye, that's when we start getting into the blurry zone, out of focus. So that depth of field, in fact, is actually quite shallow. And why is it nice? Why is it better than having the nose in focus and the eyes in focus? Well, first of all, why is it shallow? It's shallow because, yes, it's at 5.6, but it's very, very close to the subject. I would expect PM photography to have been something around 50 centimeters away, or maybe 45, which is the minimum distance between the camera and the subject when using a kit lens. So I suspect that's the case. And because it's so close, remember, the distance affects the depth of field just like the aperture. And so that's how you get the shallow depth of field. So why is it better than having the eyes and the nose in focus? Well, the reason is, if the nose was in focus, and in fact, the next one, you see the nose is in focus on this one, but the eyes are blurred, right? So when you look at this picture, what is the first thing you're going to see? Your eyes is attracted by what is sharp, then your eyes is attracted by why it's bright, and then we've got those usual full cross section, you know, from the third rule of photography. So if you had the nose and the eyes in focus, then we would not pay so much attention to the eyes, because the nose would be closer and we would look at the nose a lot more. Plus, notice where the nose is. The nose is kind of at the junction of that third line rule as well. So it's more likely that if it had been in focus, we would have focused on the nose more. I mean, by focusing, I mean the eye of the viewer would have been attracted by the nose rather than the eyes. And I think the eyes is what PM wanted to catch here. So nice job on this one. I don't have anything to say at all. So quite similar as we saw. It's just the reverse. So here, shallow depths of field, and it's on the nose. It's still a 5.6. It's still the same, exactly the same exposure at 1/60th of a second. ISO 400. That makes me think that it was probably shot inside. But no, nice. Nice. I don't have any problem with that. Really, really nice. And yeah, great white balance, especially if it's shot inside. Next one. Hey, same dog, same biscuit. All right. So I like it. I do. I would say only one thing. Dogs, cats, all the animals that actually walk, crawl on Earth are just like kids. You want to be low. You want to go down. You want to go down on your knees. You want to go down on your tummy. You want to be at their level. If you're at the same level, then you get a really catchy moment. Here it's good because she's looking at PM, but maybe, you know, slightly lower. I would have liked it a bit more. It's not to do so much with the animal, but it's to do with the ground. It's, you know, we've got that green filled up the entire screen, and if we had been lower, then we would have seen something maybe more interesting in terms of horizon and some type of landscape behind it, even if it had been blurred, because it would have probably been blurred with 7.1 and shot so closely to the subject. But nice one. It's cute. I don't have anything else to say on this one. It's cute, it's sharp, nice on the eyes, really, really catchy, and no, good job on that. Good job. This one, so still biscuit again. Alright, at least on this one I have something to say. Nice pose. I mean, she's a great model. That's the first thing. Then F13. Okay. Why F13? F13, even though you're kind of close, you're still getting kind of a deep depth of field. And You know, do I need to actually see all the trees distinctively at the back? Probably not. But what disturbs me the most is not so much the dark trees, the pine trees that you see at the back. It's more the bright tree or bush that is just behind behind her head that I could have done without this. And I think that's where the f13 is the wrong aperture. So the thing is, I would have said go with an f7, or you know, even lower depending on where you are. But you seem to be a bit like meter and a half, 2 meters, yeah, a meter and a half from the subject. I would have said, yeah, go at f6, f7 on this one. And first of all, you would have gain in light. So because you would have gain in light, then you could have used a different ISO. You're using an ISO 400. Here I don't see any noise, but you know, go down. You guys know that I like to shoot low. So shoot with an ISO 100 whenever you can, as much as possible. And it might not have been possible with an f13 at 200 of a second, but at f6 or f7 you could have done it, and you would not have the disruptive background with the bush. How the orange bush that's behind, I don't have any problem with it. It's just that green just behind the head. The other thing I would say, in composition wise, she's looking on, well, what is on the right side here of the picture. However, she's centered. I don't like when images are centered. There's very few occasions where I would do a portrait and the subject would be centered in the frame. And because she's looking on one side, what I would have liked to say is, unfortunately we don't have enough, and I don't think this is cropped, but I would have loved to see a bit more of what's happening on the right side. Why is she looking on the right side? And you know, you could have just slightly crop whatever is on the left a tiny bit. So her head would have ended up being, or her eye, the closest to us, would have ended up pretty much on the third line cross section. And I think that would have been a very catchy spot, and maybe you could have played, you know, in post-production, maybe brighten the eye. I don't know. That's not human, so I don't know how that would work with a dog. I would have loved to try, but yeah, just the crop on this one and the depth of field. That's what I would say for this. Here, so here I like it. You see here she's kind of looking a bit to the left, you know, kind of 45 degrees, almost where you would put an umbrella or softbox. And in fact, you can see the flash was used, kind of fill. So it's actually interesting, right? ISO 400, and you're still using the flash. Why is that? I'm not sure. If you had been on ISO 100, right, what would that be? ISO 200, that would have been 1/100th of a second. And you were shooting at 34mm, that was still enough. You could have done that at ISO 200. ISO 100, you would have ended up being at 1/50th of a second. That was really just. Really just. But then once again, you're on f11. F11, deep depth of field. F11, F13, you start dealing with aperture values that are for landscape photography to have a very deep depth of field. And although you're kind of close here, I see the back. It's not as disruptive as before, but you could have done without it, slightly blurring it. But what I'm more cautious about is that you use the flash for fill-in, which is fine, But she's kind of, I don't know. At this stage, I do not know what's her natural color, whether this she's more orange or brown than she appears to be. I don't know. She's very cute though, but I'm not quite sure about using the flash here and having such a high ISO. I'm not quite sure about the compromise here. And I like the position. You see, she's more on the left and she's looking roughly 45 degrees on the right, so that kind of match a bit more. My eyes are actually going straight to her eye. I really like this. You could have cropped slightly more on the left, but that would have been good. Actually, you know what, let me try just to see what we get here, and maybe you see I would have done something similar. There's a lot. Well, yeah, I actually need more to get it right, but that's something that I would have seen. Yeah, like this. So you went for this. Yeah, I would have maybe seen something like this. That might be a bit too much. Although I quite like it. I like it like this. So let me know. Put a comment and under the video. Let me know what you think of that crop. If you like it, if you don't, it doesn't matter. I'd just like to hear from you guys. Get some reaction. Next one. That's the final doggy one. Okay. I think he tried to capture the moment here, and well, it's a bit blur. Not because so much of the depth of it, although she's close. So F10, she looks really close. She looks less than a meter away. Just like humans, you know, dogs have toes. I believe, I don't know if they call them toes or what. But anyway, you see, you clip her nails, dude. You don't clip dog nails. You don't. Obviously, I mean the gloves, but don't, you know, just don't crop anything. I know you tried to catch the moment where she was moving, and that was definitely not easy. But, you know, just a tiny bit. And don't forget, you do have a mode on your camera, especially for animals. I believe you shoot Canon, and that's AI servo, and that will enable your lens to keep focusing as your subject is moving, whether it's toward you or moving sideways. So yeah, that's all for you, PM, this week. But keep them coming. I really like the shots; they're really interesting. And find me another animal next time. All right. But I love the dogs though. Next, talking a different animal. This is Eric Gordon. And Eric Gordon, I like what you do. I really do. I really do. So obviously, for those of you who be wondering, how did he manage to get that horse right there in the background? Well, at first, you know, when I looked at it, I'm like, yeah, that's really, really, really interesting. But more importantly, the light. And when I look at that light, which is the sun, obviously, how can you expect to have such a bright face of that horse on this side, right? Because the light is on the other side, and you would not expect your flash to actually do any type of feeling like this. So what it is just a juxtaposition of image. So yes, you have put Eric, unless I'm totally wrong, and then in that case I do apologize, but I believe that you put two images together. How do I actually know that? I know it because if I actually zoom here, I can't zoom more than that, but what I can tell you guys, actually, let me zoom here. You can barely see it. There's one thing that is extremely tough, and you need to use Photoshop with refined edges and stuff like that. There's a great video, by the way, from Cameron on YouTube. Cameron is one of the admin on pictography, and he did a great video about how to refine edges in Photoshop. And I need to learn. I'm trying to learn that technique because it's really good, and I've got some photograph as well where I try to cut around my subject. He's got long hair and stuff, and that's where it gets a bit messy. So we can see here some traces of hair, and that is the proof that it was a juxtaposition of images. I noticed as well here, Eric, just in case you didn't see, there's some dust here. Might be a dirty sensor, I would expect. So just in case you didn't notice, but I'm sure you did. So I quite like it. Hang on, let me just go back to all right, the normal size. So I quite like it. It is centered. It is centered. I'm not crazy about it. I know you probably wanted to get as much of the horse as possible, and I think the thing that surprised me the most, right, is the horse looks huge on this, and maybe. But that what makes it charming though. But I would have loved to try to see how it would have looked if I had taken when I copy pasted the horse and the rider. If I had actually made it smaller to just a tiny bit, no, not just a tiny bit. it just appeared too big to me, and because I would have made it slightly smaller, then I would have been able to actually move it slightly more to the left. And because the horse is going straight and the rider is looking aligned with the horse on the right side, I quite like, you know, if you've got a portrait, your model is looking right, try to make sure you get more space on the right than on the left. And that's, I mean, that's the way I see it. I know it's kind of a rule, but I like that rule. Rules are meant to be broken, but that one, I like it. But anyway, it's a great shot. I think you did a really, really good job here. One question though is about the horizon. It's not straight. I think it's not. So I'm not quite sure about this. I'm doing it with the water because we know water is always horizontal, right? And it doesn't look straight to me. So just a tiny wee bit. Let me just try if I can see something here. Up. It's a bit too much. Yes, something like this. So you see, it's very, very subtle. And sorry, I don't want to offend anyone, but actually I need to remove the ratio and go a bit like this and slightly move like that. You see, I quite like this. Let me just add some blacks so we can see properly. I quite like this crop actually, you know, it makes it a little bit more on the left, and I kind of set the horizon a bit more straight because it was not as straight as I think before, just slightly. Yeah, you see, it wasn't much, plus 0.32, so not much at all, but great shot. It's sharp. I love the horse. One tiny bit though, I know she's wearing makeup because I was zooming early on, and I could see, like, if I go here, so she's wearing makeup, and there's something right here, very sharp, that caught my eye. I would have just cleaned that because if it's part of the makeup, yeah, but we don't see the other side, and I think it doesn't add anything, and it's just more disruptive than anything else, to my opinion. So moving on, what else? Eric. This is great. Eric, this is just fantastic. I love this band. Living in Edinburgh, I see them every year. Every year I say to myself, I need to buy a DVD, a CD of them, because they sell them for about 10 quid. And I always want to buy one, and I never have 10 quid with me, and it's a shame. And I promise, this year, as soon as I see them, I will buy the album. They are brilliant. They are brilliant. I love the way they look. I love the way they sound. I love the fact that the dude is old, really, the grandpa, and it's phenomenal. It totally is. It makes me dream every time I see them, and it's pure beauty. Yeah, I just love they would be bigger than what they are. Because they deserve a lot, and I hope they do some soundtracks for some movie, you know, even like kind of a Braveheart movie when the soundtrack was really good. I hope maybe they contributed, but you know, it's the type of music I totally love. It's great on Saturday, you're walking in the street and you hear this, and it's so pleasant. It's a good change from the usual bagpipe. I love bagpipe, but this is brilliant. So anyway, in terms of exposure, I love it. This is HDR. You said something in it. I noticed. So yeah, the name of the band, in case you want to know, it's Clanedonia. And they were playing in Glasgow, here it says. And it's shot with an 105mm f8. And that's normal because it was a bit far away from them. I wanted to get a proper depth of field enough to cover all the instrument. But more importantly, it's HDR, so high dynamic range photography. I haven't done a video yet on HDR. I will do one for you guys who follow me and go through that thread of learning photography step by step. So I will do one, I promise. So basically, quickly, what's HDR? HDR enables you to darken every bright over highlighted areas and really highlight the very dark zone in your exposure. So what you end up having is a very is a picture with a very rich detail in it, and it's very useful when you do cityscape or landscape, because you get all the details that normally would not be seen because of shadows. And rather than just bringing your ISO up or opening your aperture, then what you do, or even having a long angle exposure, that would result in having some blown out zone. So by doing a very underexposed exposure, a normal exposure, and an overexposed exposure, and you combine the three of them using either Photoshop or a tool such as Photomatix, which is a great tool. I love it for HDR, and you obtain this type of images. Interestingly enough, HDR is not often used for portrait photography or people that are moving, because of the concept of having three exposures to time. And it's sometimes, even when you do landscape photography, there's always some cars or something traveling, and you end up having some ghosts. So it's one of the process of doing HDR is getting rid of ghosts. And here I think you did a fantastic job. Sorry, because I know that they are moving like crazy. They really live through their music. And it's great. So you say you took 3 frames, and interestingly, I thought first that you had done a fake HDR. So what I call by fake HDR is that because of the richness of RAW format, you can actually take one RAW, then underexpose it using Lightroom or Photoshop Camera Raw, save it as one file, then you take the original RAW file, you overexpose it, and you save it as another file. Then you end up having 3 files: the original, the underexposed, and the overexposed. And then you can play with the 3 of them, making HDR from the very same RAW file, initial RAW file, and that enables you to actually do any moving object in HDR, and you won't have the problem of ghost. So I thought you first did that, but you did it with 3 frames, so I clap, because it's a very nice job. I love it. It looks like a painting to me. And you know, that dude with a long beard, they all have beard, but this one, the old grandpa, is just phenomenal. Totally love the exposure. I have nothing to complain about, really, nothing at all. Even the models inside in the window, it's all right. It doesn't bother me at all. So really good job. So here on this one, okay, I like the hair. I like the hair on the black. I like the color. The only thing is, I'm not quite keen on the color of skin. I would have loved to see kind of a zombie pale rather than having pink skin or normal tone skin. And I dared trying something. First off, I think there's a lot of brightness inside your black. I would have loved to see almost just the head, the collar, just popping out of the background. And she's wearing a black t-shirt, and we can see a bit of her arm on the left here. I wish we didn't. And I've just tried something before, very quickly. You see, I went for really getting the blacks, and or the blacks black, and I quite like it a bit. Then we can surely play with saturation a bit, you know, to just bring that, and maybe vibrance to just bring more to it, and it's just the face. I'm not crazy about the color of a face. I like the black when it's black, and the red, I like that, but the rest of the skin looks too clean to me, and if we play with the white, that's going to make very bad. But you're going to see what I mean by that. If we actually, no, actually the white one, even if we go for the extreme, that's just kind of very grungy stuff, but I don't like it. It's not that. I was thinking of more, no, I actually can't do it. It would be the orange, so she's kind of orange skin, so if we actually reduce the saturation, you see, here you go. If we made her a little bit, you know, more black and white, kind of a Joker look, I quite like that. I don't know what you think. It's kind of a zombie type of think that might not be the look you were after. But once again, Eric, put your comment, please. Put your comment under the video. I want to know what you think of that, and I hope you don't mind that I actually try a few things here and there. Next. Oh, another one from PM. So PM, that is shot in a nightclub. Not an easy thing to do. And some trial at light photography, hot, it seems. Well, it's a trial. Now, I'm going to be honest, I'm not going to say it's a fantastic shot because I don't think it is. It's a trial. It's blown out. And it's too bad because I do not see the exposure. But what is certain, look at the histogram, right? You're in a club. In a club, it's usually dark. Well, surprisingly, there's nothing on the black. Everything is on the whites. So it is too highlighted. And, the exposure, you want to bring it down a little bit. And I can't bring it too much. I already brought it to 1.5. As I start bringing the highlights down, then we start getting some burnout effect that it's not good at all. And unfortunately, there's not much you can do. You can play with saturation, trying to bring the DJ a bit more, but everything else moved. When you do light painting photography, you need a stand. You need a sturdy stand, which I don't expect you to have in the middle of the club, but clearly I wouldn't mind the hands, right? You could play, I would suggest that. Here's an assignment for you, PM. Next time you go in a club and you try to do some shoots like this, the DJ, shoot him, try to get sturdy, find something, I don't know, a stand or whatever. And he can move, that's not a problem. There's no problem with DJ moving. In fact, that's bringing life to your photography. But keep the rest still, right? You do not want any disturbances. And here you see the desk, where it works, right? You see the desk is doubled, there's ghost all over the place. I would like to see his ghosty hand, but not the table, the mixing table. And if you do light painting, make sure that you're not blown out. This is really blown out. So maybe drop the ISO a bit, narrow the aperture, and reduce the, well, obviously you can't reduce the exposure time because you're doing light painting, so it's going to take a time. So in that case, reduce the aperture. You don't care about the depth of field at this stage. So reduce that, reduce the ISO, and that would avoid you to have a blurred back, not a blurred, sorry, I'm getting tired, an highlighted and blown out light like this. Next one, that reminds me last week. You guys remember this fantastic, I love that shot, and that's from my friend, the guy with the eye. It's Eric Rossi. In fact, I don't know if there's any link between Eric Rossi and Mario Rossi. Guys, are you guys related at all? Anyway, you cool guys, I like you guys. And you're doing some good work. And this is obviously from the same series of what I said, like the end of the world. Whether I don't know how he called it, but that's pretty cool. Did I actually write? No, I didn't write anything on this, but I quite like it. The only thing I would say about this is just it's missing drama to me. The last time it was really more interesting because of the crack, because we could see the person. When we start having landscape with the person so small like this, somehow I feel it is great, don't get me wrong, but it's just missing a tiny bit. And maybe, I know it's not easy unless you have like huge budget and you get a crate. I would think if you get a crate and you go so high, right, because of the crane brings you so high up, and you can see the tiny man in the middle of a vast forest or whatever zone it is. Here you go for the lower one, but unfortunately there's nothing very interesting at the lower ground except those marking, which are not as interesting as the crack last time. And so I'm like, yeah, I'd like to see the face of that person walking, and I can't because he's so far away. And just to add a bit of drama, because I like the last time the edit, the hill was a bit darker than the rest, much darker than the rest, and we didn't see that much of the sky. So I tried one quick thing was just the saturation. So I did this, I don't know. I don't know. It's just or either removing monochrome. I don't know if monochrome actually would be good. Let's see. How does it? Well, it wouldn't be that bad actually if we just increase the contrast and, you know, pop up maybe clarity a bit more. No, I don't like it. Sorry, I'm back to yours because I prefer yours. But yeah, the man is too far away as far as I'm concerned, and there's nothing leading to him like the last time. Last time there was a crack. It could be a rail tracks as well. But here there's just nothing. So yeah, no, I'm not liking this one as much as last time. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah, absolutely beautiful. Did I write something about this one? The Time Doesn't Wait for Anyone by Eric Rossi. Well, Eric, it's a great shot. It's great. It's technically it's fantastic. It's the right depth of field. I love it. I love the wrinkles. I love the three different hands. It looks like it, and I just love it. It's nice position of the hands. Really, 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 really good job. I have nothing else to say, but it's great. Next one. So next one, the stairs pattern. You know, it doesn't. I always want to go for a message in photography. I think if an exposure that doesn't have a message is nothing. Is really nothing. And when it comes to pattern, well, they don't have messages. It's just the pattern is the message itself. And here, well, we've got patterns. We've got lines all over the place. We've got, yeah, lines going up and down, lines going horizontally, some diagonal as well with a shadow. Personally, I'm not crazy about it, but the reason why I'm not crazy about it is because maybe I'm too down to earth, and I'm looking at the stair, and I'm just saying to myself, there is something weird. I want to know if I'm under the stair or is it the front of it. I can't see. There's something. I'm trying to understand rather than appreciating what it is, what it looks like. I'm analyzing it too much, and that's why I don't like it as much. But I recognize that it's a great artistic shot, and I leave it to that. It's a great artistic shot. I don't have any complaint to do. I love the pattern. I love the quest for the pattern, and it's artistic. And then it's at the end of the day, it's all a matter of taste. And technically, I have nothing to say to the man with the eye, because clearly there you have the eye. I just don't have it there. All right. So this is it. This was week 3. I'm hoping that you guys are going to put your reaction down below. I want to know what you think of all the things that I've said. And well, it's Monday. You will have it. It's late actually, Monday. So that will be later on Tuesday, late morning on in UK. And remember, it's the submission opens on Wednesday. And I'm looking forward to the next series, and that goes until next Sunday. So until then, well, it's Tom Migot saying, if you like it, well, capture it.